Eh? Up to who? Where was it? Where was it? Can't wait. That is the back of Namia. Okay, like this. But they actually said that people are doing when I read the media, I just say that. Okay, good, I'll big. Smile. I wanted to ask you something very important. You really doing something. No, my friend will call me like, I want to talk. Okay, this lecture is for me. Something I already experienced. What did you just think of my ask? Let me give you. I don't know if you do my camera. It's not actually like as clear. I think that because of the break up. Sorry, that I just leave me up. Leave me. I didn't say please let me one word, but you know, free food. What of it? That one. Sure. My body dey pain me. My dad was Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Good.
Motivation and inspiration, the dedicated, dedicated to love from different cultures, beautiful features. Please keep the university. We are the leaders, the light of our great nation, that must divide yet one great mission, knowledge for self-reliance. We stand to serve the fatherland, we're dedicated, standing peace and love, our voices together, beautiful harmony. Peace is the university. Peace is the university. Peace is the university.
The Registrar, Dr. Mr. Babaleye, the Vice Librarian, Mr. Larry Oshani, Vice Professor, Mrs. Taye, the inaugural lecturer of the day, Professor Samuel Olorutobi Taye Babaleye. Please let's give a round of applause. The Prince of Mathematics, head of departments, professors, family and friends of Professor Babaleye, staff and students, invited guests, professors from other universities, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all to the 14th inaugural lecture of Bliss University, the first private university in Babaleye, to be delivered by Professor Samuel Oloruntobi Taye Babaleye. Eagles are born, nurtured, and posted to fulfill destiny. Here is the story of our celebrant of today, born in Akuba, Akoko, Ondo State of Nigeria. Professor Taye Babaleye is an accomplished international public relations specialist and journalist with flair for agriculture and environmental communication. He is an eminent 1976 alumnus of Babaleye, now known as Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. Professor Babaleye holds the following qualification: BA French from Ife, MCA, MED, PhD from Ibadan. Please let me give me that now. Professor Babaleye is a prolific writer. He served in various capacities in several media houses in Nigeria between 1978 and 1984, before joining the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, IITA, and retired as Public Information Management Officers vis-à-vis the manager of the Institute in 2007. While at IITA, he initiated and promoted the Media Forum for Agriculture, MFA, an association of agriculture and science journalists in Nigeria to enhance effective coverage of agricultural research and rural farming activities in Nigeria. With funding support from donor agencies, the MFA trained and retrained several journalists within and outside Nigeria in science reporting. Some of the journalists were trained in Ghana, Kenya, South Africa, and New York. He also recognized and also organized local and international conferences, seminars, and workshops for capacity building of agricultural communication specialists. Before joining Leeds University, he was an associate professor and HOD, head of department, at Babaleye University, Abuja, between 2015 and 2018. Earlier, Professor Babaleye had worked at Ajayi University and Adeleke University in Osun State between 2008 and 2005. Professor Babaleye always made a difference in the numerous roles he played. Please, Babaleye, please stand up. Stand up. Professor Babaleye always made a difference in numerous roles he had played in the university system. Apart from teaching and research in mass communication, he coordinated the MSc mass communication programs and developed the PhD curriculum for mass communication program at Harvard. He was the chairman publicity committee for the College and CEO and Management Sciences and chairman public lecture series for the college. He was the editorial advisor of Harvard Mass Communication Student newspaper and one of the supervisors of the Harvard Quality Assurance Committee. Because of his interest in agriculture, he was the vice chairman Harvard Farm Management Committee and member of the implementation committee of IVAT and IITA African Rice Agua Project. I think it is Since joining Leeds University, he joined the university in 2019, and he has been a member of the University Disciplinary Committee and the chair of lecture series for the Faculty of Communication and Information Science. Professor Babaleye is student and people-friendly and always seek to mentor both students and emerging scholars to achieve their life goal. To date, he has nurtured several junior colleagues to earn their PhD and has helped scores of his former students in achieving their dream. Let's Professor Babaleye has done extensive research work on agricultural communication. His research has been reported in various local and international outlets. He is external examiner to some public and private universities, including University of Ibadan, Illustrated University, and Gowen University, respectively. He is a role model by excellence. Professor Babaleye is known for his commitment to authority, selfless creativity, styling, performance, and cutting edge, which has had him some appointments and some notable appointments. Currently, he is a communication consultant to IITA, where he is providing writing and educational support in areas of agricultural research and paper documentation. Under the IITA Using Agricultural Biotechnology program, he initiated awareness platform and he has initiated and managed local international agricultural communication training in African countries. Professor Babaleye is well regarded within and outside cerebral circles. Professor Babaleye is versatile public opinion holder and a host of many mass media channels in Ibadan and Lagos. And he has been attending to issues of communication and other issues of national interest. And he has delivered several lectures before and now in diverse professional bodies and academic universities. He has published 10 books, 11 books chapter in agricultural communication. He has published 10 books and 11 book chapters in agricultural communication and other sequences of mass communication. Professor Babaleye has also published more than 40 articles in peer-reviewed global and international academic journals of reference. He is married to a sweetheart of over 4 decades, Mrs. Christy Ayo Babaleye, and is married to 4 children, 2 of whom are working in the United States of America and remaining 2 are working in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to present to you an excellent player, a prolific writer, a good scholar, a architect, I have my plan to Babaleye to contribute to the world to deliver the quality basic value in the
The Vice Chancellor, the Registrar, the University Librarian, the Bursar, Deans of Faculties, Professors, Senate members and heads of departments, all of the academic and non-academic staff of this city university, my wife, Christy Ayo Babaleye, and the children, other members of the Babaleye dynasty, deans of faculty, the Dean of the Faculty of Communication and Information Science, City University, the Director General, International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, Ibadan, my former supervisors at IITA, colleagues and other scientists at IITA, Dean and staff, Dean, staff and students of the Faculty of Communication and Information Sciences. Additionally, staff and students of mass communication and media technology, other students of this great university, members of the Nigerian Media Forum of Agriculture, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a special day in my life. Therefore, I give all the glory to God Almighty for making it possible for me to present my inaugural lecture. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, please permit me to share with this honorable audience some of my research activities in the field of mass communication as part of my contributions to knowledge. The told, I published books in the fields of agricultural communication, publications, and other arms of mass communication. I have equally contributed 10 book chapters and published more than 40 scholarly articles in local and international peer-reviewed journals. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. Mass communication is a ubiquitous discipline containing several departments and units. These include the print media, which is the newspaper and magazine, the broadcast media, radio and television, public relations and advertising, which is known as BRAD, which are considered adjuncts of mass communication, but without which no media house can survive financially. Finally, there is the internet, which has given birth to the new media or social media. And today, the internet is regarded as the mother of all the other arms of mass communication. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I have carried out scholarly research studies to investigate the symbiotic relationship between the media of mass communication and the human society. Some of them are listed here. Let me go straight to my contributions to knowledge in agricultural communication. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, a popular Yoruba proverb says, when hunger is taken away from poverty, the problem of poverty will be minimized. Thus, if the problem of food shortage can be solved in our great country, Nigeria, the challenge of that country as the headquarters of poverty in the world will be drastically reduced. In order to grasp the full meaning of this lecture, it is important to explain from the beginning the difference between food self-sufficiency and food security. Food self-sufficiency is the availability of food from the production level in the farmer's field to the dining table. But food security involves food production, processing, and marketing. It is the availability of both raw and processed food distributed to all nooks and corners of the country at affordable prices. In Nigeria, for instance, food security situation, a food security situation where everybody will have access to balanced diets at affordable costs, both in the rural and at the urban centers. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, food insecurity is more than hunger. It is the beginning of starvation, affecting most vulnerable sectors of the society. The vulnerable sector in this sense includes the horde of children, boys and girls, who parade the streets in major cities to eke a living from dump sites and dustbins, looking for leftovers to fill their stomachs. The vulnerable also includes the urban poor, men and women who sleep under bridges in the cities, the beggars, and all old women who take begging as a profession, especially on major streets. They also show up at social functions such as wedding parties, housewarming ceremonies, naming ceremonies, funeral ceremonies for senior citizens, and on any occasion where food is served to guests in abundance. The vulnerable may also include the so-called area boys in our cities, who are mainly school dropouts or start illiterates, and who nuts who lent themselves to crime in the cities out of frustration. Let's look at the past glory of food self-sufficiency in Nigeria. Before Nigeria's independence in 1960, the agricultural sector operated on a robust platform.
I said,
and
and
there
you?
was no better source of income to the regional governments besides agricultural profits at that time. Politically, Nigeria had three regions, namely the north, the east, and the west. While the northern region was popular for the production of animal crops such as groundnuts, sorghum, millet, ginger, sesame seeds, and rice and skin for export. The eastern region was popular for the production of oil palm produce, rubber, and timber, while the west was the home of cocoa, coffee, timber, and other forest resources for export. In the early 1970s, Nigeria used to be a net exporter of agricultural commodities such as cocoa, oil palm produce, groundnut, cotton, and rice and skin. However, the country has gradually split into becoming a net importer of food commodities such as rice, maize, wheat, soy products, cooking oil, meat and dairy products, accounting for almost 24% of total import bills in 1997. Agricultural exports that contributed nearly 62% of total exports in the early 1970s now accounts for less than 10%. I'm quoting the Federal Ministry of Agriculture in 2021. Let's look at the challenges of the Nigerian agricultural development sector. Subsequent Nigerian leaders means the opportunity, after 1960, means the opportunity of perpetuating and sustaining the golden era of food self-sufficiency by neglecting agriculture after the discovery of crude oil as the country's foreign exchange earner. Regrettably, since the Nigerian independence in 1960, the country has continued to be bedeviled by a mirage of problems that seem to have defied solutions. These include political instability, tribalism or ethnicity, religious intolerance, poverty, corruption, and national insecurity. Others are the falling infrastructural standards of education, paucity of modern and well-equipped health institutions, unemployment, corruption among Nigerian political leaders and their followers, leading to a complete moral decadence in all sectors of our national life. Apart from large-scale corruption, the most stubborn challenge that has defied solution to date is that of food self-insufficiency. Over the years, the federal government has introduced a series of agricultural policies with a view to improving the situation, but regrettably, food deficit in Nigeria has continued unabated. According to the Central Bank of Nigeria in 2016, before independence in 1960, agriculture was contributing 85% of the nation's foreign exchange earnings, 90% of employment generation, and about 80% to the gross domestic product, GDP. Available data also confirms that shortly after the first military coup in Nigeria in 1966, the contribution of agriculture to the GDP dropped to about 60%, which was typical of developing agrarian nations of that period. Since then, production of livestock and fisheries, canning and marketing, food canning and marketing and export for a total and inclusive holistic development. There is a table in this paper of all the policies from 1974 aggravated attacks of farmers by herdsmen across the country. The incessant and murderous attacks of insurgents, of which Boko Haram is chief, kidnappings by bandits, and the general malaise of poor economy with the naira exchange rate nosediving into about 600 naira to the dollar. Thus, the purchasing power of the average Nigerian has been eroded. As if that is not enough, there is the mega problem of the internally displaced people, who are mainly farmers chased out of their farming communities by the killer hands of Boko Haram insurgents. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, though the woes are many, there is a ray of hope for national food self-sufficiency, which lies with the same poor rural farmers whose means of livelihood have been disrupted. We need to get them encouraged to move ahead. The failure of food self-sufficiency and food security policies can be reversed if participatory communication with farmers can be adopted and incorporated into the Nigerian agricultural extension systems and implemented with candor. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I've tested it in my research across the length and breadth of this country and found great potentials in it. I have also come to believe that it is the panacea needed to solve once and for all the problem of food shortage in Nigeria. Food self-sufficiency and food security are attainable, especially with concerted introduction of the so-called middlemen into the Nigerian agricultural extension system. I have proved, sir, that these middlemen who have been rejected and often criticized are the ones who hold the success of Nigeria's food self-sufficiency and food security in their hands when they are allowed to work with the farmers under my model of participatory agricultural communication, back up with rural farmers as the paradigm shift. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, it has been said by many scholars that the poor treatment of information delivery is a major handicap leading to the problems of rural farmers nationwide. As it often happens, agricultural information is not integrated into other development programs to address the numerous related problems that face farmers. I'm quoting at Babaleye in 1985. Information sharing is an essential ingredient of agricultural development programs, but Nigerian farmers seldom feel the impact of agricultural innovations, either because they have no access to such vital information or because it is poorly disseminated to them. Thus, the non-provision of relevant and effective agricultural information is a key factor that has greatly limited agricultural development in Nigeria and other African countries. In addition to the need for a better understanding of the impact of agricultural research in development of improved technologies for rural farmers in developing countries, there is a parallel requirement to better appreciate the key roles of communication, particularly communication about science and technology for rural development. Putting July 2007. The Vice Chancellor, sir, Lawan and Babaleye in 1992 observed that there are wide information and communication gaps amongst the key players in the agricultural sector. Everybody in that sector is operating independent of the others. The input dealer, the microfinance provider, the produce buyer, the extension officer, the agricultural research scientist, the marketer, the transporter, and even the policy maker. They go to the farmers individually without concerted effort to pool their resources to impact the farmer as a single and collective body. There is therefore a gap between technological innovations and the persistent low level of adoption of such innovations, leading to poor level of agricultural production in Nigeria and other sub-Saharan African countries. The reducing food self-sufficiency and food security has been demonstrated with a series of innovative agricultural policies and programs introduced by various administrations in Nigeria since the first military coup. The goal has often been a case of you shoot, you miss, and then you discard. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, the demonstration of inconsistent agricultural policies where successive governments are not interested in testing and practicing the plans and programs of preceding administrations, no matter how good, has often left Nigerian rural farmers confused because as soon as they are getting used to a particular agricultural policy to make them improve their productivity, a completely new and different policy is foisted on them with the view of rejecting the so-called old policy to embrace the new one. Thus, the farmers are often left in disarray and frustrated. The outcome is that farmers no longer take the Nigerian agricultural extension areas. Participatory agricultural communication with farmers with potential for food self-sufficiency and food security in Nigeria. Salvation Selosa, my incursion into the past agricultural policies in Nigeria is aimed at showing these distinguished tests and this lecture where we are coming from as a country in our quest to self-sufficient in food production, to guarantee food security in our great country, against the backdrop of the failure of the ineffectiveness of the aforementioned plethora of agricultural development policies. I have documented here my personal involvement in agricultural communication research to demonstrate the potentials of participatory communication with rural farmers for sustainable of participatory communication with farmers is one out of several years of practice as an agricultural communication and public relations specialist in the agricultural sector within and outside US. It's also one of my passion for agricultural development, not only for food self-sufficiency and food security, but for development of the agricultural sector to create jobs and provide several opportunities for national development. Agricultural communication with farmers at the center is all embracing with an overall goal of the agricultural economic development of the country. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I'm not just talking about agricultural economic growth, which is a short-term incentive, but I am talking of a durable agricultural development that will put the country in a better position to compete with advanced countries of the world, with where agriculture plays a leading role in the economic development of such countries. And template is not only applicable to Nigerian situation, but also to other sub-Saharan African countries, where my former employers, the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, IIT, operated and gave me full support to put into practice my model of transfer of improved agricultural technologies to rural farmers. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, to correct the situation, it is expedient to look for ways of bringing the local farming families together to form community-based organizations, CBOs, with support from the key players, the so-called middlemen in the agricultural sector, as progressive partners, where everyone contributes to national food self-sufficiency and food security in a manner that will accelerate effective food production and distribution. The establishment of the CBOs is the bedrock of my model of participatory agricultural communication with rural farmers. The CBOs are crucial in order to avoid falling into the trap of inconsistent agricultural policies, which has been the bane of Nigeria's agricultural development since 1960. In this regard, to ensure a durable and steady food production system, the responsibility should not be left with the farmers alone. After all, it is common knowledge that the information needs of Nigerian farmers revolve around the resolution of problems of land preparation, pest hazards, weed control, lack of agricultural machinery, inputs, poor rainfall, lack of microcredit, and lack of post-harvest storage facilities, poor pricing policies, and many more. I'm quoting of someone in 2005. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, based on the enormity of improved technologies available in over 30 local and international agricultural research institutes in Nigeria, Lawani and Babaleye in 1990, Babaleye and Uwachuku in 1991, Alonga in 1993, Babaleye and Ukiki Abiola in 1995, Shahi and Liyu and Adamu in 1997, Gari in 2003, Ogushola and Zonwa in 2005, all opined that the failure of Nigerian farmers to produce enough food to feed the ever-increasing population is as a result of ineffective communication methods or the transfer of improved technologies to rural farmers that form the engine roots for national food self-sufficiency. Mr. Vice Chancellor, under the Nigerian system of research, we have what we call the REF. That's a paradigm of technology transfer that is still being officially practiced in Nigeria today. There is a pyramid in this paper. The farmers are passive onlookers of the whole exercise. Under my participatory agricultural communication, however, farmers are partakers in the decision-making process of both the research work and the extension process affecting them. That, to a greater level, is the reverse to change the research extension farmer, that is REF, from top to bottom process of communicating with rural farmers who are producing food for the teeming population of Nigerians. In the old model of REF, once a research project is completed, the researcher dumps the technology on the laps of the extension agents and backs out, leaving the actual transfer of the technology with the extension agents. Little or no recognition is given to the farmers at the receiving end, while the researcher becomes invisible to the farmers. Mr. Vice Chancellor, with the top-down extension communication system, there is therefore the tendency for the farmers at the bottom of the pyramid not to have any direct dealings with the researchers who are the sources of innovations being introduced to them. The system therefore encourages a major gap between the farmers and the researchers. The farmers are far removed that they cannot immediately and directly complain to the researchers whether the innovations are realistic or not. The information from research is given to the extension agents who take it and demonstrate it to the farmers, and that's the end. In this scenario, chances are that there are distortions before the final information gets to the farmers at the bottom of the pyramid. All these encourage information gaps within the REF. And this is why, and in the end, the farmers are either tired of being used for experiments or they just become repulsive of the system and resort to stay with their old age-long practices, which unfortunately are not able to support the ever-increasing food needs of the people. Hence, the rural farmers barely produce enough for the upkeep of their families. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, in Nigeria, working with RIT scientists as communication and public relations specialists gave me the opportunity to meet with farmers in several rural communities in Nigeria. In Borno State, between 2007 and 2012, I carried out a series of research to test the effectiveness of my model of agricultural participatory communication with farmers and other key players in that sector. And the result was a resounding success. The problem of food deficit and food insecurity in our country are not unsurmountable after all. My model of participatory communication with rural farmers will take care of all the lapses and bridge all the information gaps with farmers. And in the end, the value chain of food production is enhanced and extended to the satisfaction of everyone involved in the food production chain. At that level, the key players have a consistent and regular collaboration with farmers to guarantee their regular support to the farmers. Thus, PACOM becomes a win-win situation for everyone involved in the food production chain. I have a diagram of my model in page 54. All that is required is the effective planning of the technologies with the farmers right from the beginning. The meeting with the rural farmers must include the following key players in the food production sector. 1 to 11, they are listed there. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, by experiment in agricultural participatory communication PACOM with farmers covered 25% of the total number of farmers spread across 4 local government areas in Borno State before the Boko Haram insurgents started attacking farmers. 3 communities were purposely selected from each of the 4 local government areas as contained in Table 2. It is Table 2, please you can amend it. The 12 communities are selected for the study because they are spread across the 4 agroecological zones in the state. These are the southern and northern savannas in the 6 communities of Biu and Awur local government areas. Then the Sudan Savannah in the south and the central regions are located in 3 communities of Payakusha communities. And of course, the Sahel Savannah in the north as contained in the 3 communities of Namboa. By any standard, these are some of the harshest farming environments in Nigeria as far as weather and agricultural practices are concerned. The goal was to monitor closely the potentials of PACOM to enhance improved agricultural development in the study areas, planning the experiments with scientists as a collective responsibility to bring rural farmers to focus, made us to believe that if the experiment will succeed in that part of the country where the weather is so harsh and the land is poor, then the experiment will succeed in virtually all other parts of Nigeria with better environmental conditions for farming. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, my PACOM model was basically aimed at bringing the farmers together to form community-based organizations, CBOs, under which platform they met regularly with all the key players in the agricultural sector. I'm talking of the so-called middlemen that have been criticized and vilified often in the country. The simple reason for this is that Nigerian farmers have been neglected for too long to struggle on their own to feed the nation. What Nigerian rural farmers need is not to work alone, but to have relative and comparative support from the key players who should present themselves as partners in progress. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, leveraging on the earlier establishing Prof-based farmers associations in collaboration with IIP, I organized the following 4 community-based organizations of Prof. That is, we have the Soybean Farmers Association of Nigeria, we have Cowpea Farmers Association of Nigeria, and we have Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, and then we have Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria. They are all organized by me to represent the associations which are formed several years in IIT. There are 4 major crops being planted by the local farmers in the southern area. Those are the 4 local crops. The other crops of interest are sorghum and millet, which of course do not fall within the research areas of IIT. With the same group of farmers planting the same crop, it was quite easy to ask them to talk freely with the stakeholders about their challenges, hopes, and aspirations. I also asked them to suggest solutions. That will be practical for them to increase their farming enterprises. In each community, the farmers themselves appointed their own CBO leaders in a democratic manner, based on the integrity of each individual elected to be there. Weekly and monthly meetings were held with as many possible members of the key players in the agricultural production chain. At the beginning of the planting season, the farmers tabled their challenges freely with each of the key players in a roundtable, who joined hands with them to provide solutions as applicable to the areas of strength of each of the key players, in which are in line with such challenges. For instance, while IIT researchers introduced food seeds for planting and taught the farmers how to manage the crops after planting, the extension agents took the responsibility to further educate the farmers on new production techniques in their farms. The input dealers supplied agrochemicals and fertilizers often on credit to the CBOs, where each farmer collected his or her share of the inputs and paid back at the end of the season. The credit providers gave soft loans to the CBOs to enable the farmers make part payment of the inputs and savings. Large-scale seed buyers guaranteed market for the farmers after harvest. For that purpose, I involved the marketing manager of Grand Series in Jos, Plateau State, who supplied local purchasing orders, LPOs, to the CBOs to guarantee ready market for soybeans and cowpeas produced by the farmers. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I also traveled from Borno State to Kano to bring representatives business thing, not only promoting IT, but also writing about the achievements, the challenges, the hopes and aspirations of Nigerian rural farmers. Conclusion, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, in the last 45 minutes or so, I have given an account of my stewardship as a professor of mass communication and media technology. My contributions to knowledge in the area of applied communication to agricultural development is a demonstration of my passion for to bridge the communication gaps existing among key players in the agricultural sector, so they all can work together to support rural farmers and guarantee improved production. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, it is now clear that Nigeria has no business importing food from other countries. Every dollar spent on food importation is an aberration because such funds go to empower farmers in other countries. Rather, such funds should be plowed back to support Nigerian rural farmers. And research has demonstrated clearly that with the support of all the stakeholders working with the rural farmers in the food production scenario, Nigeria will become self-sufficient in food production within a short period. The way forward, we have that in before. Acknowledgements. Once again, I give all the glory to God Almighty, my Creator, my Redeemer, and my Protector, for keeping me alive to see today and for making it possible for me to present this lecture. This is a milestone achievement for me, standing before the array of eminent scholars and great university and other erudite professors and scientists from far and near. This is to me an achievement of fundamental dimensions. I therefore give all the glory to God. I sincerely and deeply appreciate our Pro-Chancellor, Professor Babaleye, the man of vision, is a stickler for academic excellence, who is committed to getting the best for his pet project, Lead City University. I thank his wife, Chief Mrs. Taye, my former super editor and professional colleague at RIT. I thank her for encouraging me one way or the other to present this lecture. My special thanks are Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. I thank the Vice Chancellor, the Registrar, Dr. Mrs. Oyinbola Ayeri, the Sponsor, Mrs. Taye, and the Nigerian, Mr. Larry Oshani, who was another RIT staff when we were there. I thank all the professors and members of CH, all academic and non-academic staff, and students of this city university. My special thanks to the staff and students of the Faculty of Communication and Information Sciences for their contribution to the success of this lecture. I thank in particular the Dean of the Faculty, Professor Lambda Hiduso. I thank the Head of the Department of Information Management, and of course, all members of the Faculty Lecture Committee. I cannot thank you enough for your personal commitment to make sure that the arrangement of this lecture is superb. I appreciate Dr. Ayobami Babaleye, a professional colleague, the Director of the Public Affairs Communication. As a super communication specialist, we know that our motto is professionalism and excellence. So I appreciate my brother. I always tell my team because I passed through that road before. There's no saving time for any astute communication specialist. I thank only to my parents of blessed memory. The late Pat Joachim Odeki Babaleye and my mother, Eunice Wodiola Babaleye, who was barren for 15 solid years before I was born. My parents were an epitome of hard work, humility, and perseverance, who, even in their low estate, were regarded as generous givers of whatever they had. They made a lot of sacrifice to send me to school. I also paid homage to my siblings, dead and alive, in the entire Babaleye dynasty of Akoko in Ondo State, for their special roles that they have played and they are still playing in my life. So I enable me stand before this honorable and distinguished audience today to give an account of my intellectual and academic excursion thus far. I thank my immediate family, my better half, Mrs. Christine Ayo Babaleye. I thank also my God-given angels and their families, Viola, Teki, Bidemi, and Sherman. I appreciate you all for the moral, financial, and psychological support. I thank my in-laws. I thank Barrister Taye Babaleye, Chief Anara of Fararo. I cannot forget to thank Mrs. Esther Folashade Babaleye. She's not here. We call her Mother India, who together with my late elder brother, Deputy Commissioner of Police, Taye Babaleye, paid my school fees when I was stranded at the University of Ife in 1971. My special appreciation goes to the former employees, my former employees at IIT. Wow. I spent the better part of my career there as an agricultural communication and public relations specialist, 1984 to 2007. The more than 2 decades I spent there serving 5 directors general, Dr. Stephen Hartman, Larry Stifel, of blessed memory, Lucas Brother, Peter Hartman, and lately, Therese and Peter, were memorable years I can never forget. I appreciate all the IT scientists who, in one way or the other, touched my life. I thank my sincere gratitude to Dr. Steve Babaleye, who is sitting down here, because the head of IIT Library Information and Communication Program when I joined IIT in 1984. I thank everybody of the April, my directors, Dr. Alfred Dixon, Asaba Brida, Robert Asie, Jan Brida, Abidi Mekki, S. Brida, Christian Fatou, Calvin Brida, and Francis Nwilele, head of the Wada IIT, and the Alpha Camera, economist, and head of COSA in Maiduguri, where I teach my PhD program. I am indebted to the current head of IIT, Information and Communication, Kathy Lopez, who took over for me. And of course, Dr. Godfrey Answer, the digital extension specialist. I thank Mr. Bobiola, who used to be online, in fact, praise the Lord. And I thank Mrs. Shola, my former secretary of Galani. I salute the Nigerian farmers, dead and alive, who have been sensitized by me and my colleagues in IIT. In fact, the role is key for the success of agricultural productivity in Nigeria. I must not forget to thank Mr. Victor Pan, the Grand Series man, just and the shadow village of 76 company in Kano. My reserved appreciation goes to my senior colleagues in the academics. Their names are listed there. And of course, I thank members of the Media Forum for Agriculture. Many of them have called me today. Those who are still alive. The life of Dr. Babaleye, life of the Guardian, Shadow Study of and Moke Adi Isoji of the Nigerian people, Mr. Crucial Sake of this day, Philip Jacob, Ugo Makoki, Pasi Akereti, and Frank Ilobi, all of the boys of Nigeria, Mr. Babaleye David and MTA, and of the MTA and Silver Pope of blessed memory. They were the people producing the film in those days. Mr. Tiago Shafet, as seen today, Mr. Femi Ajayi, who was lost to politics. Others are Mr. Willie Thomas of blessed memory, he died last year. He was working with Dutch Welle in Germany. Professor Tunde Fakude is a professor of French in Unilag, but is an astute journalist supporting me in IIT. Whatever I am today, academically took his root from my days at the Adua Grammar School, Okeabinakoko, Ondo State, under the principalship of Chief Guy Kakiro, the man who adopted me as his son and paid my school fees in the secondary school throughout. He brought me up in a most wonderful way. And together with other old Nigerians, here was a European who lived a selfless life for us in Nigeria. Okay? And he made us to be more useful, not only to ourselves, but also to our country and the world at large. Gigi, as he was one day called, was not married. And so he had no biological children. But he regarded all of us, his students, as his children, and did everything humanly possible to support me, even after I left Adua Grammar School. He passed on to glory in 2019 in the UK, and as contained in his will, he was cremated, and his ashes were brought to Nigeria and us to bury in the school premises. By this appreciation goes to my church member, Zion Baptist Church. I appreciate the founding pastor of the church, Reverend J. Ayola, and the current pastor and his colleague. I thank them all. I thank Dr. Babaleye Taye, the chairman of the diaconate board, and all members of the church, the WMU, the MMU, the youth, and all other children. I thank you all for yes, should we wait for refreshment? But yes, please wait.
So wait, you need to tell us. I need to tell us what to make for refreshment. Okay? So they are finished. What? So, down the waist. This is the one man.